Welcome back to the Martinliedtke channel. Glad you could be here today, guys, for another video, a midweek special, where today this is an inspired video by something I witnessed this week. Now, this week has been a crazy week. There's been a lot of unusual and crazy circumstances and things happening, which I will tell you all about on our Flat a Day show on the weekend. But I've been thinking about lamps. And how far back does street lightning go, actually? You know, the narrative of really beautifully ornate lamps all being gas powered, and then somebody would come along with a stick and or lower these things on chains and then illuminate these street lights, like all of the lights in the world, and then out them again at the end of the day. So like literally maybe 1 trillion lights. To me, that is just a silly notion. I think there was something definitely more going on with lighting and street lights than you might imagine. And it's all linked into the grid system narrative. Now, I think that lamps in the past were prana powered, cheap powered lights. So before wires and before Edison's scripted inventions, there were lights, and they've been around for a long, long time and not lit by gas. These really old world lights humming with not electricity, but with life force. Humans as batteries, creating a charge that is usable for lighting. Now, these buildings you see these lights on attached to are living buildings, living architecture. We've talked about this 1,000 times. You know, the sacred geometry and the principles put into these buildings makes them alive. So the buildings are alive too. Here's apparently an arc version, an arc lamp in 1890 in what looks like Paris. But you can see the antiquitech, beautiful, ornate, but you see a lot of spirals. These spirals, sure. And what I think they do is they amplify the existing chi energy. Now, think back to the old lighting before the LEDs of today. We used to have these sodium lights. And do you remember when you looked at these lights, it would illuminate just a glow, especially in fog or foggy weather, especially, but on winter nights as well. The light would have an aura all the way around it, where it would illuminate only the ether around it, but the light would obviously go outward from that. And that was illuminating the chi. That's what you were seeing there. So they weren't powered by like coal or steam. They were tuned to chi, the vital energy, prana, that flows through all living things and the earth, and indeed these buildings that you see of the old world. So they weren't crafted with brass and crystal. They were crafted, with crystal and brass. As you know, that has important properties with generating a charge, as we found with antiquitech receivers, and sacred geometry. Old world street lights acted as resonant receivers, drawing energy from ley lines and ambient ether. This one is in London. You can see that it looks like one of the last gas lamps, but is it really? These loops. And you see these spirals on so many old world lamps. Now, let's just look at this for an example. Aesthetically pleasing, but really, is there any need in the world of horse and carty to have this massive base? And what is exactly in this base? And these like lugs on the side, and then it goes up, and then you've got like toroidals going on. And then there's the lamps. And then there's this beautiful lamp at the top. Look at that. But can you see the spirals? Well, Chi travels in spirals, and they are capturing the charge and they're amplifying it. This guy, if he was real, he looks a little bit different there, does Nikola Tesla. But you can see, just like Uncle Fester in the Addams Family, he's lighting light bulbs with ambient electricity that's just hanging around in the air. He found a way, apparently, of teasing that usable charge. Chi is what he was using. G energy. Can you see this lamp? The way that the spirals and like the directionalization, all of this thing actually is part of that device. And you can see these spirals. I took that one myself. I think that was in the Czech Republic. But old world light. I'm sure the fixing's quite modern at the top. But you can see that they got like the serpent spiraling the column, just like the fascia, is creating a charge. So they should show it symbolically, but I think it works practically as well. So here is an example of electricity that was used, or a light bulb that was used in 1901, the eternal light bulb that was connected in California. Still hasn't gone out in 120 years later. It's cited as being strong evidence for how products were purposely made not to last in modern technology. No, there is that aspect, but I think that the power or the lights of the past run on us, or run on natural energy, and needed no external fuel whatsoever. Look at the spirals in this one, for example. Spirals, spirals, spirals. Dragon, spirals, all the way down to the lamp. That's what's doing it. So they're placed, these lampposts, at precise intervals, okay, along harmonic pathways. So they didn't just illuminate, guys. Look at the spirals in this. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Spirals, spirals, spirals. Everywhere in that lighting of an old church. So yeah, so they didn't just illuminate. I'm not sure why this is Edison and not Edison. Edison, very unusual. Just part of the narrative in a script anyway, in the sim. So they didn't just illuminate, they balanced. And cities like Prague or Venice, for example, or old London, they would have shimmered with a golden glow that soothed your soul and aligned your body. This is what's going on. Look at this old world. So yeah, repurpose after reset, guys, as they usually do as they come in. And this thing, just shove candles in it, because that's the only technology we have, is all wax candles, and then they just put candelabras around. But all of this is not for aesthetics. All these, look at this technology, and even the wrought iron with the spirals, the multi-spirals in the background, is all part of this amplifying of chi energy and making it usable. All of old antiquity was doing it. And these lights that they tell you were put out in the Victorian era, a lot of them are old world. And some of them from the reset. Excuse me. So yeah, so these lights, they were warm and they were healing, and above all, they were intelligent. Just like the way electricity is intelligent, just the way like a river is intelligent, chi life force is intelligent. Look at this, like tuning forks, amplifying it. Vibration, and then you got one big, which looks like a bass clef, one big toroidal, and you're going to see this on so many of these old world lights. This is a lovely example, Phoenician touch to it. Anyway, this is an old lamp in London. It looks like we've gone backwards, because these are having a cup of fine coffee out of a lamppost. I wonder if that was its original purpose, if there was more going on with that base. So yeah, this one I took myself. It looks like that it's been replaced on top of a more modern wall, but this thing here is certainly really, really old. And you see, I know when I was a kid, we used to tie rope on these things, on these old lampposts, and turn them into swings. And I always thought there was more of a purpose to these. When I was little, do you see the twists? Just like the knobbly bits on the cathedrals, guys, driving chi energy, which is what is illuminating. Soon as I said it, looking at this old lamp that I witnessed in Cardiff on the side of the staff club, I was like, okay. And then I had a little think about it and thinking, well, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be that sort of electricity. In humans, we create a charge. You know, this circuit board computer that we find ourselves in. Look at this in San Francisco before the earthquake. Fasces, all of this below it. Imagine the airspace in there. What is in there exactly? Is it a fountain? But the lights and the antiquitech on top. So yeah, then came the resets, and the lamps, they got repurposed. They got made into gas lamps, they say anyway. And chi energy was just dismissed as a myth, actually. The ley lines, well, a lot of them got buried in the mud. A lot of them have been dug out since. And impossible design. Lamps etched with spirals and swirls, and lights that never ever needed fuel. This is another mode they may have used, I've talked about before, is illuminative tiles that they illuminated vaults and underground places with in the past. Maybe they were a Tartarian technology that went way, way, way back. But look at these old world lampposts. The land, the worlds of horse and carty, yeah, the lampposts. And all of these have been taken away. Beautiful ornate lampposts. You can look at any city in the world, photographs of 100 years ago, and the lampposts are fantastic. Absolutely beautiful to behold. But these things, you know, these illuminations, you know, there's no way that somebody is climbing the top of this every single day, or lowering a chain and lighting them up every single day, and every lamppost every single day. Look at this beauty. Again, fasces, the ship, the Phoenician ship with the ramming bits that you see everywhere in Christendom, just showing who's in charge. Look at the orb on top of the spike. All part of that technology. Anyway, look at this. Look at the geometry on that. And this is that's from a really old text as well, showing you how they're doing it. Look at these old lampposts. Spirals, and all of that decoration. Do you think all of that is aesthetic for the aesthetics? Oh, I'll just put all of these bits of metal on the side sticking out like that. And look at this one with the rose tints, you know, like the Tiffany glass in it. Bet that illuminates beautifully and softly. And definitely light is healing, like sound is healing. And the reliquary devices of old got these glass things in them, and I think that they probably illuminated as well. And free energy. Dynamos. I had dynamos on my bicycle when I was a kid. They're still around now. They don't really sell them because you've got to buy batteries and keep on paying for batteries. But you could run these lights by dynamo in the past. So I think that they're a lot older. Look at this old technology of illumination. So you can also, as a lot of you probably know, illuminate using frequency, sound frequency. Because everything in this place is energy, and everything is frequency and vibration, as Tesla, who is meant to existed, bangs on about. Now let's check this lamppost. It is massive, isn't it, for the day of horse and carty? You've got a giant crown on top, another crown on top of that, a load of antiquitech, spirals, posing one another, just like the fasces, showing you in the code even that is self-generating. All of it was. And the narratives for Edison and Tesla, Westinghouse, electricity, is a cover story, because the streets were lit before then. Just think about it. Oh, we came in and built all of the Victorian lampposts, and before then there was fire on sticks. Fire on sticks. Interesting. This is lenses capturing light. That's another thing they could have been doing, is powering batteries in the day, just like solar panels. Look at that little crown on top. But look at that, for again with the toroidals, again with the loops. And you're going to see it on all of them, and on an obelisk, and all surrounded by railings, just like a Faraday cage. It's just bonkers. This is from an old Kirchner book. Really interesting. He's got these lenses looking like kaleidoscopes, but what you're looking at is sunlight going in and basically being a projector. The sun projector of Kirchner. Look at these lampposts. So some of these lampposts were also water fountains as well. So I'm thinking, with the chi driving up, illuminating, the buildings, the circuit board cities, these things, these domes, everything generating that subtle charge necessary for well-being, vitality, everybody like feeling fantastic. Can you imagine a world of people all feeling joyous and groovy, no ill health, no poverty? Well, that's what I think the world was. I think all of that happens now in the modern day didn't exist in the past. Look at this. I'm just thinking it's in China or India maybe, because of the pagoda shape and the onion dome, lighting on top and lighting there. But look at the honeycombing nature and ever decreasing pyramidal form. So it's like nesting, lighting through nesting. Now, a lot of you know about sonoluminescence, and it's light made from sound. In water, sound with the right frequency can produce super hot bubble that creates a flash of light when it collapses. So I think the humans, we are made of water. I think with the right frequency, I think that we light up. And this is why people look so radiant when they're on that vibration. Look at this. Look at this. This is obviously in Barcelona, because you can see Gaudi's thing in the background. But that lamppost is like somewhere between a church and a lamppost. All knobbly bits, toroidals at the bottom, toroidals all the way around the light fittings, toroidals on top, and all of the knobbly bits, all capturing chi energy. And this is a friend of, apparently, in the narrative and the story, a friend of Nikola Tesla, who was Mark Twain, Samuel Clement, who was really, really interested in electricity. All part of the narrative. Give you some famous writers. Huckleberry, he wrote Huckleberry Finn. So it's true. Look at this example. Why bother with all of that? It looks like something out of a space movie, spaceship movie. All of these domes of what and what's in them exactly. And they're all coupled with the wire, and then this at the top. And then that's got a vent, an actual vent. Just like, whoa. So yeah, that's what I think. And I think that there is a good chance as well. The buildings, the living buildings, they also created a frequency, and sonoluminescence could have indeed been it. The light made from sound, it's chi frequency. If it's life force, it's prana. Okay. And I think the prana lit the world. Why not? Anyway, I'm going to be back very soon. Happy Hump Day. Stay fantastic. And I'll tell you all about all of the weird things and brilliant things that have been happening on the weekend with some new juicage. See you all very, very soon. Make sure to subscribe to martinliedtke. Make sure to like this video if you did. And all the other good, groovy YouTube things. Boom Shankar.